Hello, and welcome to Film Independent Presents Virtual Edition. I'm Rachel Bleemer, Director of Events for Film Independent. Before we get started with today's very exciting Q&A, I have to give some praise to our amazing sponsors. Thank you to the incredible lead sponsor, Hollywood Foreign Press Association, and thank you to our screening partner, Vision Media. I'm honored to introduce our guest moderator today to talk all things. Please welcome IndieWire editor, Ryan Lattanzio. Did I do it? Did I do it right?
It's close enough.
Thank you all.
Hey, everyone. My name is Ryan Lattanzio, and yes, I'm an editor at IndieWire. We have today with us the writer, director of Mark, Mary, and Some Other People, Hannah Marks, as well as the film stars Hayley and Ben Rosenfield, who play Mary and Mark, respectively. So thank you all for coming together this afternoon to talk about the movie.
Do you, Mary Lewis, take Mark Kenneth Sampson to be your husband, to love and to cherish for as long as you both shall?
Hell yeah, I do.
You may now kiss the bride.
Wait, why isn't it you may now kiss the groom?
Seriously?
Please just let me kiss you, Mary.
You may now kiss the groom, I guess.
You said if one of us didn't want to do it, we could go back.
And this was your idea from the start.
Okay, hold on, let me do virgin face. My parents are gonna come home soon.
So nice to see a charming, realistic romantic comedy in 2021. It's a genre that kind of gets the short shrift now. And so I guess I want to just start off by wondering, I wanted to ask Hannah, first, as a filmmaker, what's your relationship to romantic comedies? And were you kind of aware of that tradition of movies that are kind of falling by the wayside? And then Hayley and Ben, also what your relationship to a rom-com is.
Yeah, I think rom-coms have been always the go-to thing to watch to make you feel better. And right now with such trying times, it's nice to have some rom-coms and comedies, especially. I mean, I'm obsessed with watching stand-up comedy to go to sleep. I think it's nice to have something light and silly, and we really strive to have a lot of fun on this one. I was really inspired by movies like When Harry Met Sally, and the classics. They're so wonderful, but there leaves a lot of room to get to subvert tropes and try new things. So that was where it began for me.
Yeah, I'm a big rom-com person. they're definitely my go-to. I feel like the era of There's Something About Mary and How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days and Hitch and Along Came Polly and all these incredible rom-coms made me fall in love with the genre. And I feel like it is kind of going under the radar, and I'm so happy to be part of something that is bringing incredible rom-coms back, and I love them so much.
Yeah, I do too. I think that a big part of why we tell stories is to help each other understand ourselves more. And I think romantic comedy is like one of the best genres to explore, what we do with each other as people. This is such a fundamental part of being alive, is finding somebody to spend a lot of time with, share all your fears and hopes with. And like Hannah said, it was immediate from reading the script that this was taking a genre that is, a time-honored tradition, but doing something really new and exciting with it. So I was really excited to jump on board as soon as I read it.
So we're all millennials here. We're all kind of roughly the same age. I'm a little bit older than all you guys, but not by much. And I feel like everyone in my age group now is transitioning into this or talking about this sort of poly phase, or at least they're questioning whether it's right for them. Or you're seeing on a lot of dating apps like ethically non-monogamous, which is of course a term that comes up in the movie. So in terms of the origins of the script, Hannah, and then for Ben and Hayley, you two, getting the script, how did it speak to you in terms of what you're observing among your peers and generation?
I think for me, I feel like I am both Mark and Mary. I think there's a voice in my head that's more traditional and old fashioned. And then there's also the voice in my head that's maybe more progressive or experimental. So to me, it was like, how do I split myself in half and make two characters and then find out what would happen? Because this is something that's being talked about a lot. And while ethical non-monogamy and open relationships and polyamory has been around a long time, it hasn't been seen too much in film and TV. So it felt like an opportunity to dissect myself and also dissect rom-coms, like you said. So I think it's really about just exploring ourselves, and there's so many different sides to each of us.
I definitely feel like after doing this film, I started seeing it more and had friends talk to me about it. And I love the way that this movie doesn't make anything a huge deal. I feel like it's very normal that they're having this conversation, and it's very honest, and it just feels like for Mary, this is the next step for her. And I love that. I hope that people watch it and feel like they can have that conversation with their partner if they'd like to. And I know that people are now, and I love that we have something that is being showcased as this is okay, and you can want something different and talk about it. And I love that. And I definitely
hopefully they learn from this movie how to not have that conversation though.
yeah. I hope they don't do I hope they don't approach it how the
you gotta
character
make
does,
a few mistakes along the way.
take some notes, what to do, what not to do. But yeah, I definitely know people that have after even telling them that I'm doing this movie and what it's about, have told me that they had a conversation with their partner, and I didn't know that. And I love hearing people's stories about it now.
I've gotten that feedback a lot too. I don't know if you have been, but so many people have been like, well, I'm in an open relationship.
Yeah, it's like such a secret, but maybe people will wear it as a badge of honor now.
Totally.
I definitely felt when I got the script that when I got it, I was like, well, this is fun because it feels like these people are talking about what everyone around me is talking about. It felt, and it still feels that, yeah, I know a lot of people who are experimenting with it, and their eyes light up when they hear what this movie's about because they want to see themselves represented in film. And yeah, I guess another thing that I was struck by was, yeah, it's just, in the movie, Mark is very resistant to even have a conversation about the possibility of opening up the relationship. And, that's the danger right there, is the poor communication, the non-communication that happens between Mark and Mary in this story, I feel like are the things that, damage the relationship over time. And what I got from it was that, it's really important to ask yourself those questions honestly. And it's important to just go ahead and have the conversation. Like, nothing ventured, nothing gained. You only get one life. You kind of have to figure it out for yourself and not take it for granted that you're supposed to do what your parents did.
Ben would make a great therapist, I think.
I
feel very enlightened right now. I love it.
Right now.
He's so well spoken. I'm like, I take everything he says and throw out what I just said.
Yeah.
That'll be $150. I don't take insurance.
Yeah, but please take over for me also. To that point, the movie kind of also deals with the heavier aspects, as we see, of sort of the unintended consequences of their experiment, which is there's a miscarriage, there's HPV, and which I don't know, like, just in my observation, are things that still have a stigma attached to them, right? And like, you don't often see that represented in like American film and television. So Hannah, I wondered how you were careful to sort of thread the needle from, okay, we're doing this rom-com sort of premise and there's a lightness to it, but now we're taking a more serious turn in the final act.
Yeah, I think it's important for me to state that I don't believe that this is how all open relationships should go or will go. I'm not pro monogamy or pro polyamory. I think it's like to each their own, right? So for me, this was just one couple's experience with it and what happened. And I really just tried to put myself in their shoes and think, okay, what would actually happen? What are the consequences of these things that they're doing? And how does it affect, their potential careers or their friendships or their bodies? So I really just figured if I thought about what would actually happen, then that's probably what I should go with. And sometimes that takes a big tonal shift and a big swing, but I thought it was worth taking. And I thought, you might as well take a risk and have some fun with this instead of just keeping it in the, simple rom-com space. Why not take it some unexpected places?
Well, Hayley and Ben, you both come from having starred in drama films and television series also. So did you find it was easy to make that shift? I don't know if you shot, sequentially, in terms, so maybe you were kind of internally building to these moments all along.
I feel like I felt this is the most comfortable and honest I feel like I've ever been with a project, and I love that we got to be funny and make people laugh and then have really serious moments. I think that the comedy made people feel comfortable and like they know Mark and Mary, and really feel sorry for them or feel happy for them when the good things happened, and feel for them when the bad things happened. But it felt very natural, and I think because we got to be so comfortable and humorous with each other, it made the sad moments more sad and honest.
Yeah, I totally agree. I've done a lot of drama. I've done some comedy stuff too on stage. I've done a little stand-up comedy and stuff like that. So I was like really, really excited about that element of this movie and getting to go to those places, because I feel like life is pretty funny a lot of the time, even when life is hard and dramatic. And I feel like those shifts from everything being funny or light to heavy are also true to life. Like a lot of times my mood will shift very, very quickly. It's not like something that's like a slow building thing. So yeah, I just feel like those shifts from comedy to drama really speak to what relationships can be like, and also that it's a testament to Hannah's writing, because it's like those transitions just made sense based on what the characters were doing or saying to each other. I felt they were very motivated by the story.
Well, Hayley and Ben, you both have wonderful chemistry in front of the camera, but I understand that you didn't really know each other at all before shooting the movie. So did you feel like that was helpful or hindering in some way?
I feel like it could have been hindering, but I think Ben's so lovely and we just got along so great that I don't know what it would have been like if we knew each other before. We didn't, so I don't know what it would have been like, but we just hit it off and clicked, and we're so lucky that Hannah trusted us both and thought, no, these two are both good people. They'll probably like each other, and it worked out beautifully.
Yeah, there's a little bit of luck in the sense that we just got along so well. Hayley's awesome to work with and so funny and just like always making me laugh. And
She hides.
So nice.
but I mean, I think there's that. And I also think in a way it's probably good that we didn't know each other before, because like Mark and Mary don't know each other before this movie starts. So we got to get all of those sort of real feelings happening over the course of making the movie, of meeting a person and thinking, oh, this person's really awesome. And just the whole range of emotions sort of naturally growing as the movie's grown.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, you guys showed so much trust in me, and that's been, I'd say, one of the most beautiful experiences of my life so far, not just my career, just how much trust you guys showed me in your portrayals of the characters, because we did a lot of improv and we, did a lot of things that can look really silly or be scary or vulnerable. And you guys just went for it and were willing to take risks. And that has, taught me to be a better actor in my own life, a better filmmaker, but also when I, resume acting one day, I'm going to take the lessons you guys gave me from showing me so much trust, because it made my job easier and it made it for a really fun shoot. And I never want to go back now.
Oh, I feel the same way.
Hayley and Ben, you both bring a lot of experience from episodic television to this movie. Hayley, you were on Altered Carbon and Riverdale. Ben, Mrs. America, Boardwalk Empire, a tiny part on Twin Peaks where your character doesn't last very long. And
is that a spoiler?
Well, no. Well, maybe it's from like the first or second episode of the series. But I was wondering, I'd love to hear from you as actors, in this sort of age of streaming content where like a 10-hour series is somehow more palatable to a lot of viewers than just watching a movie. How does it feel as an actor doing a 90-minute indie feature that probably shot in a span of a few weeks, versus a TV series where you're really immersed for a longer period of time?
I think being able to do both is so great. This film was such a family. It felt like a family making a movie, and we got to be so creative, and we worked fast, but we worked hard, and it was just a whole different experience than episodic TV. And I love both, but this is definitely something I prefer. And having Hannah be on both sides as an actor and a writer director, it was just the best of both worlds, understanding what she would want as an actor and applying that, and what you want from a director as an actor and applying that. And it was just, I don't want to be like, it was perfect, because it was it was crazy sometimes too, but it was just a really great environment. And it's definitely different than episodic TV, but I love the indie movie world.
There's a hustle to it.
Yeah.
I was going to say, in a way, it feels more immersive making an indie movie because you have so little time, and it feels like more time is focused on shooting and actually the acting. Because you have so much less time and less money. There's just way less time spent on setting up the lights and the camera, and there's way more emphasis on what are the actors doing in the scene. And they're both great. Feel super lucky to have been able to do both. And I think the lessons you learn from a more structured thing like episodic TV about, really learning how to hit your mark and learn your lines perfectly is an important skill set. But more often I'm trying to bring the kind of chaotic, impulsive mindset of an indie movie into a TV thing than the other way around.
A question for all of you is basically that this movie finally did premiere at the Tribeca Film Festival, and we're used to, actors and directors are used to obviously making movies that spend a lot of time on the festival circuit before finally getting released. But it seemed like you were shooting this movie just before lockdown happened, and then you didn't premiere it until just a few months ago this year. So I wondered, I don't know, Hannah, did all of that time invite you to sort of reshape some elements of the movie or reconsider your approach? And then for Ben and Hayley, like, when did you finally get to see it, and did you feel like it was so long ago? Did you have a different relationship to it with having all that time?
Well, I was really grateful that we filmed it when we did. We wrapped the end of January 2020, and obviously the lockdown was in March. So we actually got so lucky. This movie wouldn't have been made otherwise. It's a lot of kissing and touching in small spaces. I mean, it's like a COVID nightmare. But hopefully that can be cathartic for some people to watch and say, remember those times, So I'm grateful that we filmed when we did, and, getting to do post during lockdown was a blessing in some ways. It was hard to get used to doing it on Zoom, but also gave us a lot more time to sit back and think. And I think we tried a lot of riskier ideas or made weirder choices because we had the time to play around and try things. And that was a real blessing, although I'm sad that the world is going the way that it is, but I'm glad to finally have it out in the world and hope people can see the joy in it.
Yeah, I watched it very close to Tribeca. I think the first time I watched it was a couple weeks before Tribeca, and I don't like watching myself, and I get scared and I put a bag over my head, but I love
There's that word bag. I kept having to ADR Hayley saying Canadian words.
I'm Canadian, so everybody laughs when I say bag, whatever. But I really love this movie. And I think it's the first time I've been able to pull myself out of watching myself and just really watching the movie. And it just felt like we did it 2 days ago when I watched it back. And I remembered memories of shooting with Odessa when she was yelling at Joe when we were playing the music scene, and it just brought back so many memories. And it didn't feel like, wow, this was before the pandemic, and there was I mean, there's been a lot of pandemic based things that came out, and this completely made me forget about that. And I love that. I love that it transported me to a pre-pandemic world.
Yeah, it's a funny thing watching your own work. I don't know how to make total sense of it, but I also agree. I just had an overwhelming feeling of, well, I really like this movie. Like, I like it. It makes me laugh, and I feel for the characters, and I think it looks great, and the editing is really fun and punchy, and yeah. And as far as like the pandemic and all of that, is relationship to it is just sort of like, yeah, it's nice to see a bunch of people kissing and touching and partying, and there's a little bit of escapism in that, which is nice, but mostly I'm struck with the honesty and the reality of the world that I'm looking at when I watch the movie. So very proud to be in it.
Lastly, I just wanted to ask you guys, just as like I live in New York now, but I moved here from LA, and I felt that this movie kind of captured California and LA really well. But I wondered, one of my favorite places is the Madonna Inn, so I wondered about what it's like to shoot there. I mean, because they're so particular about preserving that Madonna Inn experience that I wonder what it's like bringing a film crew in there.
Yeah, I hope we don't get in trouble.
You're like, what?
Well, so I went to elementary school in San Luis Obispo, and a lot of my family is there. So I grew up, going to field trips at the Madonna Inn. I love that place, and I always thought it was the perfect place to shoot a movie. So I was just desperate to get in there somehow. And it kind of felt like the honeymoon sequence would be a perfect opening credits and a perfect way to get to shoot something there. And so we took a little splinter unit, really, really small group, and Ben and Hayley, and we all went there for a few days and had dinner there. And it was just, it was such a blast. And we rigged a camera to their bodies and did the kind of snorri cam effect, which was also on my bucket list. So I got to kind of cross off a few things I've been hoping for with that trip.
Yeah, that place was the best. It was so cool. And I was so starstruck when we were there. I think I got a t-shirt, a mug, the pens, the notepads.
Yeah, I got the goblets. I got more goblets.
Everything. We got everything. The soaps that were in the bathroom. It's so cool there. I didn't even know.
So hard to pick a room to shoot in too. Yeah. They're all so cool.
And we went in a few different ones, honeymoon one, the cave.
There was like the cave rock one. Yeah. And the pool is so beautiful too. Yeah. You guys were probably freezing, but it looked good.
No, it was fun. I am a New Yorker. I'd never been or heard of the Madonna Inn, but the whole time, it was actually the last thing we shot, I believe, was there. It was like going to that location. And so the whole time I've been hearing about this magical place. And it did absolutely surpass my expectations. And it was just, it's just a magical, fun, eccentric place that I highly recommend everybody watching this. If you're driving by it, go in the parking lot, check it out.
It's a pretty good ad for it.
Yeah, but
bakery they have really good baked goods.
Oh yeah.
It's such a fantastical place, and it was cool because we had shot most of the movie at this point, so we had gone through a lot of the dark stuff that happens with these characters. So to return and end and actually see, oh, this is where they went on a honeymoon. And it's so full of fantasy and fun, and it just felt like the perfect place for them to go, and also a perfect place for us to finish shooting the movie.
It was very on brand for Mary too.
Yeah, it was it was like being at Disneyland.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I encourage everyone watching this to check out the Madonna Inn at some point. And once again, thank you guys all for coming together this afternoon and sharing the movie.
Thank you so much. Honored to be here.